On this week's episode of Katie, How Do I? How do I keep rodents and mice away from my Jeep in the wintertime? Well, that's a good question. Um, at the dealership, we get a lot of electrical problems in the wintertime as opposed to the other seasons because of mice. They like to find a nice warm spot in your Jeep, especially if you park it in a garage. And they'll build a nest, they'll have babies in there, and they will chew your wiring harness up. And you won't even know that they're there until you start experiencing some kind of like wacko electrical problems, like lights flashing when wires end up rubbing together. So it's very important that we keep them away from our Jeeps. The other big issue, too, is not only are they looking for a warm place to stay, but they love the wiring. Why? Because over probably a decade ago, car manufacturers, to save money, switched the coating they put on the outside of the wiring to soy-based. And mice love soy-based stuff, especially the wiring. With that said, they will sniff it out and start chewing away at your wiring in your Jeep, and that's no bueno. So how do we get rid of them? Well, there's a few different methods. A lot of people will use dryer sheets, mothballs, or cedar planks and scatter them around their Jeep. I personally don't recommend mothballs because they're a carcinogen. However, cedar, you can't go wrong with cedar. Peppermint oil is another one too, or eucalyptus oil. If you put just a little dab around your Jeep and rub it in various areas, they have a very sensitive nose, and that's a deterrent in itself. So that'll work. One other thing that I think works even better than those methods is something called Mouse Blocker Pro. So this guy invented a little device that you mount on the inside of your engine bay. And what it does is it emits this supersonic noise, kind of like a dog whistle. And it keeps mice away. They can't stand the sound of it. And based on the reviews online, it works exceptionally well. And I will tell you that investing in something like that, which is probably like $50 or $100, is way cheaper than having to replace your entire wiring harness because the mice chewed through it. And I will tell you, that's considered an act of God, so I don't even know if insurance will cover it. Fact check me if I'm wrong, obviously, but it's better to be safe than sorry, right? So with that said, if you guys have any more questions for me, feel free to put them in the comments section, and I will see you next week.